Hello, welcome to another edition of Yes 101's Visual Radio for the Newsfirst team. I'm Joel Abdin.
And I'm Mariam Gunavijaya. Let's start off with the stories that made headlines.
News First headline.
And in headlines, Sri Lanka meets IMF WBG top ranks in DC. Over 550 arrested in Sri Lanka drug raid. Sydney church stabbing declared a terrorist attack. Sunrisers Hyderabad scale new heights in another hit-a-thon.
On your top story, the Sri Lankan delegation led by State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe kicked off the IMF and World Bank Group spring meetings with a productive bilateral discussion with Kenji Okamura, the Deputy Managing Director of the IMF. Okamura had commended the Sri Lankan authorities on strong program implementation and excellent reform progress. He had emphasized the need to preserve the hard-earned gains Sri Lanka has experienced since the beginning of the IMF program and continue strong ownership. Now, State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe, along with Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka and the Secretary to the Treasury, explained to Kenji Okamura the recent socio-economic developments and the authorities' commitment to ensuring continuity and consistency of macroeconomic policies and reforms undertaken under the program. Now, the Sri Lankan authorities also met with Dr. Krishnamurthy Subramanian, the IMF Executive Director for India and Sri Lanka, on the sidelines of the spring meetings. They discussed the progress of debt restructuring as well as the next steps towards the finalization of the second review of the IMF program following the staff-level agreement that was reached in March 2024. In addition, Parameshwaran Iyer, the World Bank Executive Director for India and Sri Lanka, congratulated Sri Lankan authorities on implementing the series of difficult reforms. Iyer updated the Sri Lankan delegation on the various internal restructurings within the World Bank and how these changes could benefit countries like Sri Lanka, and assured fuller support to Sri Lanka. A more comprehensive report of these stories and much more is coming up on our primetime news bulletin tonight at 9 p.m. on TV One and Newsfirst digital platforms.
And moving on to more local news, Sri Lankan police conducted a special operation yesterday targeting drug trafficking in the western and southern provinces. The operation resulted in a significant number of arrests and drug seizures. A total of 550 individuals connected to drug offences were apprehended. 5 of those arrested were women. Police also seeking warrants for 12 additional suspects, while the operation yielded a quantity of heroin, ice and cannabis.
International news.
And in some developing international news, Australian police have declared yesterday's stabbing at a Sydney church a religiously motivated terrorist act. A 16-year-old boy was arrested after a bishop, a priest and churchgoers were attacked during Mass at the Sovereign Church Christ, the Good Shepherd Church. At least 4 people suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Police confirmed that the attacker was also hurt. The incident was captured on a church live stream and quickly triggered unrest in the suburb of Beckley. Australian police defined terror offences as being ideologically motivated, and investigations are still underway, but they say they are satisfied this is a case of religious extremism.
Sports news.
And now moving on to update on sports. Now, Sunrisers Hyderabad went on to get the highest ever IPL score, bettering their own 277 against Mumbai Indians scored earlier in the season. Travis Head scored the fastest 100 by an SRH batter by getting there in just 39 deliveries, while SRH also smashed 22 sixes in all, which was the most in any IPL innings. Head's 8 sixes was the joint most by any SRH batter in IPL history, and he had great company. Henry Clarkson, given a promotion rod at number 3, scored only 67, but even that contained 7 sixes in all. The sixer story above summed up SRH's batting approach in a sense. Put into bat, Pat Cummins only half joked that 240 was a par total at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, but his batters seem to have taken the words to heart.
And those are all the stories we have for you on this edition of Yes 101 Visual Radio. Thank you very much for joining us. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Mariam Gunavijaya.
I'm Joel Abdin.